Association as we continue to ensure that we inform stakeholders, inform members of the media through the stakeholder engagement and the media engagement respectively about happenings here at the Football Association as part of our transparency process to enlighten everyone about the full year at the Football Association. So again, we'd like to welcome you, and as stated in the communications from the stakeholders, they have key things to discuss on the agenda, including the CAF impact, the FIFA Forward 3.0, a communication from a stakeholder, and then the subvention payment. So the President will deliberate on those agenda items, and then after the deliberation, we will take concerns, questions, or comment from stakeholders here present. So without further ado, now turn over to the President of the Liberia Football Association, Mr. Mustafa Araji.
Thank you very much, Anthony, and good afternoon to members of the Executive Committee present and our club officials, observers, members of the press. Again, it's an exciting moment for us. Happy New Year to you, because this is our first engagement in 2026. Again, as stated by the media manager, as part of our responsibility under the principle of good governance, we always want to ensure that we get in touch with our stakeholders, discuss issues relative to finances, other issues relative to governance, and to also update those that are following in and out of Liberia, because it's key and important based on our key information that monies for football development must be used always on football development. First, we'd like to start with the CAF Impact Program and to update you relative to the CAF Impact Program. We are happy and thankful to the leadership of the Confederation of African Football, since the ascendancy of the President, Dr. Patrice Motsepe. We've seen significant growth in the development of football in Africa, looking at increase in prize monies, looking at also support towards clubs qualifying from various members association for the CAF Confederation Cup and the CAF Champions League. The innovation and the vision of the President ensure that empowers each and every member association to strengthen its administration, competitions, referee development, and all other areas of football, looking at women's football, youth football, and schools football. I am pleased to announce to each and every one of you stakeholders that for the period 2026, in terms of the first tranche of payment, that the LFA has received around 175,000 less bank charges into the accounts of the Football Association. This money is intended as part of the CAF Impact Program to support the OPC, operational costs of the Football Association, a specific percentage that has been communicated to you. Also a portion for women's football, youth and schools football competitions. So far, the Football Association has been working along with other actors, and the Executive Committee approved during its last meeting held in the boardroom of the LFA, approved an amount around $16,000 plus as contribution towards schools football, and that payment will be made to Inter-Schools Football Association, an affiliate member of the Liberia Football Association. We believe that schools football must be strengthened, and it's part of our responsibility as the Football Association, taking into consideration the works of ISA, that we as the LFA will serve as the monitoring team from the technical department and the school football division to work along with ISA to ensure that we have schools football competition playing in the 15 counties in Liberia, involving schools with players at the level of under 15. The Football Association, the first increase, we saw additional funding towards women's football teams. The 12 women's upper teams, the Executive Committee approved an addition of $1,500 from the CAF Impact Program to each of the women's football team. 12 teams benefited $1,500 each from the Liberia Football Association last year through the CAF Impact Program support, and this year the 12 women's team will also benefit $1,500 each from the CAF Impact Program, including that of the first and second division teams, increasing the amount of subvention contribution from the Liberia Football Association from $6,000 to $7,500 to each of the first of the 15 first division teams, 16 second division teams, and 12 women's football teams respectively. The contribution from the CAF Impact Program will come from the operational costs towards the first and second division teams, and the contribution towards the Women's Upper League will come from the CAF Impact Program funds allocated towards women's football development. The contribution towards ISA is coming from the percentage allocated to youth and school football competitions. So we'll go to the next on the FIFA Forward. So far, we again can confirm that we receive the transfer into the accounts of the Liberia Football Association, $250,000 as Liberia Football Association benefit and allotment from FIFA covering travel solidarity, $50,000 as equipment solidarity funds also from the FIFA Forward funds, and the difference less of $79,000, that was the COVID loan, last payment deducted by FIFA, so far with all of those payments in the Liberia Football Association account. The Executive Committee approved from the Equipment Solidarity Fund for the new football brand. As we mentioned, the Football Association is working towards independence, and I mean, though difficult, but now we'll be launching our own football brand very soon. So we've approved the payment for the first batch of soccer balls while we are with the project through FIFA, through our project funds, to increase the number of balls. Some of the balls will be used as subsidized balls towards our clubs, and others will be used and distributed around the LFA stores for sale. The funds generated and profits from the sales of those balls will be reinvested into our football program in terms of purchasing more balls to increase the number of balls in the country and to increase our sales. The other portion of the funding in terms of the OPC will also be used as contribution towards payments of subventions to member clubs who've met the criteria. As part of the decision taken by the Executive Committee, the Liberia Football Association, taking into consideration challenges faced by clubs, is continuing its support towards payment of subvention to clubs in twofolds. The first payment of $3,000 is given to first, second, and women's upper division clubs, and the second payment upon a full disclosure in terms of reporting, clubs who have been cleared by the Audit and Compliance Committee will receive the second payment. The deadline set by the Audit and Compliance Committee was at 31st December 2025. Now they are under the review process to approve other beneficiaries of the subvention in terms of first payment of $3,000 each to those who qualify and have submitted the report in full. We're hoping that we can have the final report from the Audit and Compliance Committee to immediately commence distribution of funding to member clubs who have applied for the LFA assistance through the subvention funds. We also, during the period, received a communication from a member club, senior female professionals. Unfortunately, the president is not here, even though the agenda was communicated, but we'll give chance and opportunity to the media manager to read through the communication, to read it out to member clubs, and we'll certainly share with you, because we believe it's important, and that's the reason why we see a lot of executive committee members present to participate in this engagement and discuss with you issues of concerns. So we are here to listen also to you and to also serve you. So it's important that we read out the communication, hoping that during the next engagement, senior female professional will be here, and then we can be able to address their communication forwarded to the Liberia Football Association. So let me permit the media manager to just read through, and then we can continue next. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. So the communication was sent on December 19, 2025, the day after the Executive Committee meeting. Addressed to the General Secretary of the Liberia Football Association. Dear Mr. Creighton, we extend our greetings to you and the secretarial staff, and want to thank the staff of the LFA for their level of work in the push as we approach the new year. Mr. Creighton, our intention is due to a video circulating on various social media platforms, which is up where the president is heard say or making a series of promises in which he said it is a decision coming from the December 18 Executive Committee meeting. In the video, the president of the Liberia Football Association, Mr. Mustafa Raji, can be heard saying that the Executive Committee has agreed to increase the subvention of clubs to 7,500. The purchase of lighting for some stadiums, purchase of 4 buses, construction of mini and big stadiums in several counties, and of course the construction of the Lfa Hotel. Mr. Creighton, we are certain that the executive committee will come out with such decision, which is not in their purview, without even providing information to the clubs and other stakeholders before going to the media. The cost of these projects and purchases should be millions of dollars. As per the statutes, expenditures of the National Football Association are approved by Congress without any information to members of Congress. For the executive committee to make such decision is against the administration of football. We believe that if the executive committee has these ideas, it will be appropriate to present them to Congress members, especially club owners who spend thousands of dollars every season to ensure that football is played in Liberia. We assume that the funding for these projects is from the FIFA 4.0, which was approved by FIFA and some teams. So we are troubled by the executive committee, and the executive committee will sit in a one-day meeting and decide to approve and distribute such a huge amount. Only agreed to provide 2.3% to clubs that are spending on football, while more than 8% is used for infrastructure. Mr. Creighton, on behalf of the club, Sion Female Pro, please convey to members of the executive committee our disappointment with the manner and form in which we have decided to distribute the FIFA support to Liberia. We are calling on them to call a meeting with football stakeholders where they will bring ideas and we can bring ours so that we can all decide on the best way to use the FIFA Forward 4.0 funding. It is sad that there is no provision for our national teams, and only people who are keeping football running the clubs are only provided at least or less than 3% for the next 4 years. We believe that when we all share our ideas, our football will become better for the next 4 years. As we convey our message to the executive committee for our meeting, we await your approval for a meeting with all clubs for unified and coordinated efforts in the running of football. Our clubs have engaged with a few clubs, and they all seem to have the same idea, that we have a meeting with all clubs and the executive committee to work out way forward to better the next 4 years. Our club intends to go forward with engagement with all clubs and the standard stakeholders while we await the response of the Lfa Executive Committee. Sincerely yours, MS Stephen Glasgow.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Kokwe. So, those of you that have heard you listening to the readout of the communication, present here is the president. We have members of the executive committee. Communications were sent to all clubs, and our intent is to ensure that each and every member can be listened to, can be heard, given the opportunity to express and discuss more about these activities or concerns by any or each stakeholder. Unfortunately, senior female professional representative is absent from the meeting, and we're up to move to the next agenda item and hoping that the club will be present during our next engagement where we'll be able to address the concerns in full. Howbeit, the media money, the secretariat will share with you the communication, because the communications are concerned of a stakeholder, including each and every one of you, since they requested the intention of all stakeholders, so we share the communication with you. Just to point out to the general public out there who is following, there is nothing called the FIFA 4.0, and we're hoping that we'll discuss more, but there's nothing called FIFA 4.0. There's no funding approved, and I think that's not part of the letter. We'll talk about assumptions. So we'll be able to address that during our next engagement. So we come to the issue of subvention. As I mentioned earlier, during the last year, combination of support from the LFA, we increased the amount to by 1,500 for the women's team. I believe 90% or 95% of the women's team who met the criteria set by the executive committee, meaning the 1,500 should be used specifically for equipment, education, or medical for players. A same applied to the period 2026 for second division, first division teams that will be receiving, and that of the women's team. So the secretary will communicate with each and every one of you, and once the finance is ready during the second phase of payment, we release the funding from the CAF Impact Funds. Those of you who've completed the submission of your documents and reviewed by the Audit and Compliance Committee will certainly start receiving your subvention very soon. Again, members of clubs present, we are happy again to be here. Members of the executive committee are all present who participate in the deliberations at the level of executive committee meeting, who make decisions in the interest of football development. Our vision is to ensure that we make football national for all Liberians in and out to enjoy the game equally, not prioritizing or coming up with bias for any other club. We believe football development, the growth of football, it should be at the interest of each and every one of us, giving opportunity to our young boys and our girls, our brothers and our sisters to play, and our fathers and our mothers to also gain attention and interest in covering our matches. Again, I want to say thanks to each and every one of you for the sacrifices you continue to make. The level of investment in women's football, in men's football competition, youth football competition, grassroots football. We remain committed to the process to support and develop football in the country. So thank you very much. If there's any question, I'm really open to address your concerns. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. So front row and then go to the back. So if there's no concern from here, Bunja. Oh, good. Let's go. Small time FC. Okay. Borough FC.
Yeah. Mr. President,
yes.
Thank you for the disclosure. I just like clarification on the subvention in regards to the 1,500 that was added to your subvention. You are already getting the usage of that fund again on medical, to be used for medical, or can you please clarify that?
Okay, so what we've done as executive committee, when we approved the previous subvention coming from the FIFA for funds, we consider it as subsidy towards salaries of players and technical staff, and should be used only for that purpose. So the addition of the from the CAF Impact Funds, the 1,500, you have three different options, or you can utilize the overall funding on one area. So we have three areas to cover. You can use the funds equally or whatsoever way you want to use it for either equipment purchase, contribution to education of the boy or girl, or contribution towards the medical coverage of your players in terms of payment for drugs, paying for hospital bills, etc. You could decide as a club to use the entire $1,500 to purchase equipments, sporting equipments. You can decide to use the $1,500 and have a split, a percentage towards equipment, a percentage towards education, a percentage to education and medical, whatsoever we decide. But that's the three main key areas to utilize the fund. You can use it as a whole for one area, no problem. You can use it spread over the three different areas. You can use it two areas, no problem. But we do not want it to be spent outside the three criteria listed. So meaning equipment, education of a boy or girl, or your coaches. Some of the coaches are participating in trainings, A, B, C, diploma courses. You can take funding from that to contribute towards the education of your coach, or you can use that as cost to cover the Medicare of the players or other staff of the team.
Follow up with that.
Yeah.
Does that mean in terms of reporting, we'll have to report differently from the regular reporting? That is, we're going to submit the report, the $3,000 that go towards salary, and the $1,500 going to be an extra report indicating how the money was spent?
Well, it's just a simple reporting form, so it's going to be split. You can do one-time reporting based on when you exhaust the funds, but you can split the report detailing the $3,000 that go towards salaries and the use of the $1,500, breaking it down in terms of the areas that was used.
Thank you.
God knows you.
Yeah, Mr. President, thank you very much. I'm a bit confused. I want that clarity on the increment in the subvention, because before the recent one to say it's increased to 7,005. So women football have equipment, I think 1,005. So I just want you to clarify how much each of the women's football team get in total. Because I'm confused why they will get the 1,500 plus the they will get the 7,500 plus 1,500. Very confused.
No. So you all know that the last tranche of the subvention payment from the FIFA for All funds is $6,000 each club a year. So what we decided to do upon receipt of the funding from CAF, additional funds from CAF, to the CAF impact funds, the executive committee approved, because the funding was not enough, additional 1,500 from each for each of the women's team, because they came from the women's development funds and for competitions. So that fund have a percentage. So we're taking around the total of 1,500 per team for each of the 12 teams, not to roll over. So it's not going to roll over once you do submit your report. So for 2026, it's the same amount. The executive committee on December 19 also approved, okay, additional 1,500 each of the first and second division teams, because during the period of last year, the second and first division team were not included because the funding was limited. So for beginning 2026, every club in terms of the first, second, and women's upper is now going to receive evenly 7,500 each per year. Discovery. Dominguez. So Freeport.
So is there no concern? We'd like to call you on the day of this stakeholder engagement. We'd like to say many thanks to all of you out there stakeholders who took up their time to attend this stakeholder engagement, along with members of the executive committee also here present. And like the president said, we'll continue to make it our responsibility as part of good governance to ensure that every time we have these engagements to inform stakeholders and members of the press that we do with the media engagement about happenings here at Lfa Football Association. So, Mr. President, about a comment.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Kokwe. Again, dear presidents, dear executive committee members, members of the press present, again, we're happy to welcome you at our office. The door remains open to each and every one of you. We are here to support you. We are here to work together to develop football in our country. We ask each and everyone involved in football development to continuously invest in football. A boy or girl is looking up to you way there in a rural part of Liberia to make them smile. So we want to encourage you, and we want to also assure you this executive committee remains committed towards developing and improving football at all levels. We want to increase competitions and improve competitions, like we've seen the increase and improvement in competitions. We want to increase the number of playing facilities so your players can train well. We want to also increase amount of funding coming to you. Very, very soon, we're going to be increasing again funding towards women's, because we believe the women's football is still developing and want to pump in more funding towards women's football development. So very soon, the Lfa Football Association will be calling you back, specifically the women's team and some of those amateur teams in the second division, to announce to you additional increase in support in terms of financial support to strengthen your team over the period. Again, thank you. Safe journey home. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Mr. President.